Welcome back to another Big Bad Review. I'm your host, Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before, a Zeo Rewatch podcast. Today, we are looking at the latest addition to my Lightning Collection Zeo team, the Zeo Green Ranger Adam Park. This one is the only one of my collection so far. Actually, I now have the complete set of the Zeo team, so this is the only one that I have gotten that I had to get loose out of the box. Zeo Green and Zeo Blue are the two hardest to find of the whole set, and it's pretty common to find them for sale on eBay and such out of the box with all or most of the accessories. So the only accessory I don't have for Zeo Green today is the blast effect for the blaster, for the rifle, the side arm. But I do have, as you can see, the two hand axes, the alternate head of Adam Park, the two other grabby hands, and the Zeo saber sword thingy. Granted, I am not certain that the extra hands that mine came with are actually the extra hands that it should have. This will probably be a little bit of a quicker review just because, as with all of my other Zeo figures you guys have seen the past few weeks and months, the posability doesn't really change too much between any of the figures. I do have my little stands for Lightning Collection scale figures, little 2mm pegs on the bottoms. Really love them. I've got all of the Zeo figures are using those on my shelf now. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to remove the axes real quick, and we're just going to pop these off, and we're going to get right on into the review. So Zeo Green is my favorite design of the Zeo team, right next to Red, and one of my favorite, probably my favorite Green Ranger design of any of the teams. Yeah, and I just love Adam Park. Johnny Yong Bosch is absolute amazing actor, voice actor, general talent, musician too, and all that jazz. But I'll take that out of the holster. So, posability is identical to all of the other figures. So you've got this nice inner shoulder movement here. Mine's a little looser on one end than it is on the other. Again, I got this used, so there's a chance it's been played with or displayed, whatnot, all that stuff. Great detail, as always, on the little circuitry designs on the torso, arms, and boot cuffs. Great Zeo logo on the belt, and the little bit of detail at the top of the collar there. Head can look up just a little bit, down just a little bit. Can't tilt side to side, but can turn 360 degrees around. Arms can go up that far, down almost completely to the side, 360 on the shoulder and at the upper bicep. You can see there. Over 90 on the elbow, and then straight back out. No forearm rotation, but the hand, because of the pop-out joint, can completely rotate around. In theory, it can also rotate a little bit, or pivot in and out. Can't really too often with the holdy hands, unless you pop the peg out a little further, which, depending on the figure, is less and less possible. Upper torso hinge, you can rotate 360 all the way around, down quite a bit, up quite a bit, and then lower waist ab crunch joint. Mine's really clicky, but can bend down, and then up, and then back quite a bit, so you can get some fun kicks and dives and all sorts of movements with that. Once again, no hip rotation, which is pretty typical with these figures. We've got upper thigh 360, almost full splits, and then basically a 90 front kick, and then really no back at all. Over 90 full bend on the double jointed knee with the pins. And then the ankles, really stiff on mine, but they click and then they kind of rotate side to side. So do get some solid posability as always with those. Now going right into the accessories, one thing I will note, the color difference between the body is not as bad as it was with, I think it was Zeo Pink that had the most noticeable difference in the pink shade. With green, it's really not noticeable from a difference. It may not show up on camera. The helmet is ever so slightly darker, which is pretty typical. But then also the shoulders and arms are a little bit darker than the legs and torso. I don't think that's really noticeable to anybody. And depending on lighting and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to see it whatsoever. So, there we go. Nice satisfying pop. We've got the Adam Park head. I think this is probably the best head sculpt I've seen so far. There we go. Looks the most like Johnny Yong Bosch back in whatever it would have been, 95, 96 era. Really great sculpt in my opinion. He, again, like Tommy, is going to be one of those characters that has reappeared often enough to really have some great scan opportunities, and he's still fairly involved in the franchise, so I'm sure if they really wanted to, they could bring him back in for some last-minute scans, although, obviously, it's been, nearly 30 years since Zeo, roughly, I guess, 25-ish, 27-ish, probably, something like that. It's almost as old as me, so... or I'm almost as old as it, one of those ways. But yeah, I really, really like, especially the hair. I think it stands out a lot compared to the other male head sculpts. I think yellow and pink look pretty good. Tommy's isn't the best of all of the Tommy head sculpts that I've seen. And the Tray of Triforia one, I think, is just kind of like dog water. I think it's the worst of all of the ones. But granted, again, I don't display any of these guys with the human heads. Although, if I was going to, I think green is the one that looks the best with the human head. You've got the two sidearms. Again, the sabers only come in the fully extended position. They don't come in the down position at all. There is, I think I've mentioned a couple different times, there's guys on Etsy and eBay and stuff that make custom ones that are shorter, that fit into the holster and don't stick down the leg. I will eventually get a set of 5 for all of these guys, but I haven't done it yet. And then the blaster, I always forget how great the detailing is on these little guys. The paint on the little Zeo logo and the gold kind of dial and stuff there, really awesome. Again, I don't have the little blast effect, but you can see the peg there where that would plug into. Not sure what color Zeo Green came with in terms of the blast effect. I think it was a yellow one, and I do have quite a few of those laying around. I don't use them a ton, but I do have them. Mine came with another set of holding hands, more blaster adjacent holding hands, the trigger finger, rather than the wider ones that I have for the axes. But then, of course, you can trade out the fists or karate chop open hands with any of the figures. The main accessory that I really like, of course, is the combining weapon, the axe, the Zeo axes, which I think next to Red, to Zeo 5, with the sword, these are the best translation from Mighty Morphin to Zeo in terms of weapons, because going from the power axe with Mighty Morphin Black to the Zeo axes here, I really dig them. I've been displaying all of these guys with their unique weapon, their combiner weapon. There isn't a way to combine them that I know of. I don't think they will combine the way that I think the Mighty Morphin weapons combine pretty successfully. But I don't think the Zeo ones will, just because of the way that they're made, and you can kind of see it is a little hard sometimes to get them to hold the axe, and it looked good. They've got a really wide handle, so it does come off a little janky sometimes, but I don't know, I'm pretty fond of it. Like I said, Zeo Green, of the Zeo Rangers, green and blue I think are my two favorite designs. And I think Rocky and Adam really stand out in Zeo, as you guys may have noticed from TJ and I talking about the episodes in Stronger Than Before, which we will be getting back to recording new episodes. You actually have to re-record an old one because of technical issues that always seem to plague us and other podcasters. But yeah, this is probably my shortest of the Zeo Lightning Collection reviews. I don't have anything to really big to add to this guy. Like I said, Zeo Green is probably my favorite of these. Yeah, gonna go ahead and swap Adam's head back out for the Zeo Green helmet. Awesome. Yeah, really, really dig this figure. Looks great on the shelf with all of the other ones, and cannot wait to get, right after this, I'm diving right into Zeo Blue and the third cog that was sold not in the 2-pack, sold by itself, that came with Zeo Blue's weapons. His also axe kind of weapons, his Tonfa blade weapons. That for some reason they didn't include with him initially, because I think Zeo Blue was the first of the Zeo Rangers to be put out, which is also part of the reason that he's the hardest to find. So makes a little bit of sense. Is a little annoying, but hey, it is what it is. Lightning Collection has been getting better about releasing figures either in the same wave or just a wave or two away from each other, so that you're not going multiple years before you can complete a set or get close to completing a set. But yeah, this has been Zeo Green. I have been a huge fan of this guy. I will be taking plenty of pictures of him and the rest of the crew. Very excited to have him on my shelf and added to the collection. Actually going to have to move Mighty Morphin Pink from the 2-pack up to my shelf with Finster, because I am officially out of room on my shelf I put up specifically for my Lightning Collection figures, which is a problem I knew I was going to run into, and I don't even have, like, Tarantula Knight is not even on a proper shelf right now. He's, like, standing on top of DVD boxes, so that's, it is what it is. But with that, I have been Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before, a Zeo Rewatch podcast. If you want to find me and the things that I do, you can head over to projectlouder.net, where all of my podcasts are broadcast, and along with a bunch of other fun projects, some video content, some blog content. We've got some really great article interview style posts on the way, from Rants from the Black Lodge, talking about horror movies and all that jazz. A lot of stuff like that coming down the pipeline. So very excited, and thank you guys so much for tuning into this and all of the other Zeo Lightning Collection reviews. We've got one more to go, and then we're all set on this, and we will see if I end up convincing myself to or not to get any of the other Lightning Collection figures. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.